The Boys and Girls Clubs of the PD area have set up a lot of fun for the summer, but they're here today to talk about fundraising. Learn all about it coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Myrtle Beach Herald in its conference room and its new offices at 4806 Northgate Boulevard in Myrtle Beach. We're focused on the Boys and Girls Clubs of the PD area, and we're visiting with its Director of Operations, Decar Brown. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks. You got to get up early to get down here at 7 a.m. Thank you for coming down. A lot going on in the PD area.
Yes, it is. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. The PD area, the Boys and Girls Clubs, is a three-county principal focus there.
Correct. We service kids in Florence, Darlington, and Hartsville, also in Chesterfield counties also.
So a lot happening. Three good-sized counties there, and a lot of kids in those in the counties.
Most definitely, and those are just three areas that we service kids. I mean, there's other areas in the PD area that need us also.
Mm-hmm. I think you mentioned earlier before we started filming, there's even opportunities or folks looking in other areas to possibly join.
There have been some meeting of interest in Marion County and also Dillon County.
Yes. Tremendous. Yes. Golly, this is a constant need. I think you and I talked about it earlier. Don Hall was with us a couple of months ago, highlighting one of their big activities. And of course, when you hear about everything that happens within the Boys and Girls Clubs, it is whether the Grand Strand or the PD area, y'all are going nonstop all the time.
Yeah, we are, and I'd like to give some kudos to Don down here in Myrtle Beach, because like I said, he's doing some great things. I know he's taking this organization to higher heights. Also, like I said, in the Florence area, we're just trying to make the Boys and Girls Club one of the premier youth organizations.
Right. 7 clubs in the 3 counties. For viewers who may not be familiar with the Boys and Girls Clubs, Decar, just give us a little sense of what the Boys and Girls Clubs of the PD area is all about.
Well, truly, we want to be a youth service organization. That's truly what Boys and Girls Club are. We don't just serve boys, we don't just serve girls. We want to serve young people, like I said. And our focus is on basically 5 core areas, which is health and life skills, the arts, sports and fitness, and character leadership development, and education and career development. And in every one of our programs that we implement throughout our clubs, we try to have a focus of those 5 areas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Health and life skills. I know I got the first one out there.
Health and life skills.
Right.
And what a health and life skills would be, a cavity-free dental program. We'll bring in somebody. There's some good stuff through our national. The Crest Foundation has donated some stuff with our clubs. We come in and teach young people how the proper way to brush their teeth.
Right, right. That's very important. Yes, absolutely. What was that second one you mentioned?
Okay, it would be the health and life skills. It would be the arts, of course, which is self-explanatory. That's visual, performing arts, and any type of art. Then you have sports and fitness.
Right, sports and fitness.
Education and career development.
Education and career development.
And this summer, I think most of our clubs are going to put a lot of heavy emphasis on that education part and the career development part.
I bet they are. Yes. What ages are, and then the 5th one, I'm sorry, education and career development, sports and fitness.
Sports and fitness, education and career development.
I'm sorry, you normally just recite them. Health and life skills, arts, sports and fitness.
Would be career and
career development. I'm sorry to put you on the spot. You got them a second ago. If any viewer was watching a minute ago, they heard all 5 of them. You know, as we think that through, the arts are so, I mean, that really is important. We think about the visual arts.
Arts is, I mean, it's funny not being an artsy guy, as I like to say that. But it's amazing to hear how the performing arts and the arts portion of any young person, how the impact it have on the influence of math and science. There's some correlations of when a kid perform well in the arts, how they perform well with the arts, I mean, in math and the science. So I think arts is a must.
That is critical. And as you say, there are a lot of kids who probably think, I'm not artsy, I can't get anything out of that. But the Boys and Girls Clubs really open the window for them. It
is. I mean, one of the things we try to do is there's something in the club for everybody. I mean, that's the unique thing about our clubs. I mean, if you don't like the gym area, which we do, most of our clubs, well, 3 of our clubs have larger gym, which is a pool for kids.
Oh, yeah.
Our game rooms is a major hub for kids to come and, I want to be a part of the game room or the gymnasium. But what about the young fellow or the young lady that all I want to do is have an area to read a good book.
Yeah.
To work on the computer. So each one of our clubs have at least 10 internet accessible computers.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Each of the 7 clubs have at least 10 internet accessible
right.
locations. That's tremendous.
Yes.
That's probably one of the advancements. There's probably not a lot of Boys and Girls Club units around the country that can claim that.
Well, one of the things, we get national support from our corporate office, which is in Atlanta, and that was one of the movements they pushed for a couple of years ago. We were trying to grow our movement,
right.
And one of the things they did wanted to make sure all clubs had at least 10 computers. Now, most of our clubs have probably 15 to 20,
right.
But national made a strong push that if we're going to serve young people, we got to give young people things they want to do, and computer technology and all that kind of stuff in the computer realm. Kids enjoy doing it, yes.
Well, there's so many more aspects that we want to highlight about the Boys and Girls Clubs, the PD area, but if a viewer needs to get off to work now or get family out of the house, what's the best phone number for someone to call to learn more about the Boys and Girls Clubs of the PD area, or a good website, since we're talking about the web?
They could use our website, which is bgcpda.org.
Okay.
Which is our PD area's website.
Right.
And our phone number is 843-662-1142.
Okay, 843-662-1142. And even if someone called right now, 7:15, and someone wasn't there, they can leave a message and get some information, or the car may be rolling. If you weren't here, you'd be rolling in there. Yeah.
I tell you what, at 7:15, if you wait 15 more minutes, I know at least in the Florence Club, there are kids waiting to come into the club for the summer program. So they call it 7:15. Somebody should be picking up that phone.
That is tremendous, Decar.
That's only in the summertime.
Yeah. But even in the school year, and that helps highlight one of the aspects there. It is year-round.
We do run a year-round program.
Right.
Our summer program runs from 7:30 in the morning to 5:45 in the afternoon.
Wow.
Our school year program will run from 2 until 8 o'clock at some of the clubs.
Is that right?
All
that
day,
late?
any half a days, we're open for kids. Like I said, our job is to be accessible for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That is tremendous. And what are some of the things, you highlighted the gymnasium there, the access to the internet, and that is not unfettered access to the internet. I mean, that is still, there's certain site kids just can't get into. And there's going to be some kind of oversight of those websites and otherwise.
Most definitely. Sure. We have some filters in place, but if you know about filters, a good computer person could probably get through some filters, but we don't depend on just the filters alone.
Right.
I believe we have some of the best part-time staff available to work with our young people, because truly we believe it's not the program that we offer that make the impact on young people's life. It's truly the person that you put next to that young person that makes the impact, because we want that kid need to know that Mr. Brown cares about them, and so oftentimes if I see a kid, and I don't get a chance to work with kids as much as I used to, being a director of art, but you always want to go to the kid and ask them how's the day going. No matter what time of day it is, what time of the morning, how's your day, how things going, and building those personal relationships with young people. That's where the impact. And then you can get that young person, once you build that personal relationship, then you can get them to do, why we ain't doing better in the school? Why we ain't doing better in our community? What can we do to help you improve those things? So yes.
That is tremendous. Speaking of that, if there are ever any viewers who'd be interested in getting involved with the Boys and Girls Clubs of the PD area, in addition to possibly donating their dollars or donating their services, their time, I mean, are you looking for volunteers ever?
Always look for good people to come in our clubs. I mean, and of course, in this day and time, we do have a strenuous background check thing. I mean, we got to keep in mind, we work with young people who I think is some of our precious jewels that we have. So we do have a strong background check type situation. If once a person fulfills that obligation, yes, there's opportunities for them to do any type of program.
Speaking of that, what would be some of the qualifications that a viewer would need to have to be able to volunteer if they were coming in there? Surely as the director of operations, you see a lot of the ones that interface with kids. There's probably some office or administrative duties around, answering the phones, doing stuff like that.
Especially in most of our clubs, that somebody can bring a specialty type thing. Somebody let's use audio taping, digital camera, photographers and stuff like that. Anybody can bring some special talent, and you don't have to have just that specialty talent, but just a person to have a passion working with young people. I mean, the impact, you see somebody reading with a young person, to improve reading skills, they tell me the more that child can read to you, or the more you can read that child, you can improve the reading levels.
Really?
So any opportunity that you can work one-on-one with kids, or if you had a program. I mean, we believe at Boys and Girls Club we have some of the best programs in the world, but we do understand there's some other good stuff out there that we will partner up to utilize with them. So yes.
That is tremendous. That is tremendous. Decar, you know, we think about how someone first gets involved in volunteering or first gets involved in working with children. What opened the door for you to get involved with the Boys and Girls Clubs of the PD area?
Well, that's a good one. I guess I just have the desire to help others do better too. I mean, I think that's what it's really all about, helping others. I've had the opportunity to, through my past education experience, my college career, to go and visit different places and to understand that for me to do better as a person, I need to help somebody else do better. And that's truly in every position I've ever held, not just with Boys and Girls Club, but just in life. It seems like I've always been guided to jobs where I'm helping someone. And the joy that you get from seeing a young person or anybody do a little bit better. I mean, that's the challenge I present to kids all the time. Do better. Even my own kids, I mean, do better than I did. And with my kids, we've set the bar pretty high. Yeah. I mean, we believe in, you know, that, first of all, for most of our kids that we serve, we believe if we can help get them to a higher situation education-wise, and higher education, that's going to be a pretty decent bar. But we also understand that education is one piece of that pie. You got to do some other things, you know. So that's all it's about, setting that bar so they can kind of achieve it.
That is tremendous. Speaking of that, how is the Boys and Girls Clubs of the PD area funded, Decar? Is that all? Is it government funding? Is it private funding? Is this through donations? How are y'all funded?
We are strong recipients from the United Way, first of all.
Great.
You know, why it's a great partner. I mean, we appreciate what the United Way do. We have a great board of directors, which give personal dollars, and government funding. Our administrative staff is always looking for ways to fund our clubs, and not just our clubs, programming for our young people. When we look at the different grants and opportunities, our number one goal is always, first of all, is this taking us away from our mission? And second of all, are we going to still be able to serve young people? I mean, so we get governmental dollars, private donations. I mean, I remember we used to get a couple of dollars from somebody, from one senior citizen, and she would come by every month to drop us off a check. And I tell you what, that makes the difference. I mean, the more of those kind of dollars you can get, those kind of dollars from individual dollars, those are the dollars that will sustain a club, because government grants run out.
They do.
You know, and United Way dollars get cut sometimes, but in this economic hard times, the individual dollar is which will sustain your clubs.
So you'd be happy for a viewer to pop on by, either to see you all, to learn more about the clubs, or even to bring a few dollars by or $100 by, whatever they can bring by.
Anything they can bring would be grateful. We're thankful for it. But I tell folks, I strongly believe that if a person come into our club, because a lot of times there's a misperception of what you do at the Boys and Girls Club. If they come by our clubs and meet some of our young people, you can't help but to give, because those kids and what we try to do with those kids at the club, it makes a difference. And most people, if we can get them in our club to see what we do, we think we got us a pretty good donor.
That is tremendous. What is a viewer going to see if they come by during the school year? If we're thinking about the 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock potentially, are the programs any different during the school year than in the summertime?
The program don't change much in reference to what we try to do. I mean, you figure you go from maybe let's say a 2 o'clock at our Florence Club. You will see, it's funny because you'll see probably the Florence Club 100 little ones from 6 to at least probably 12 years old. So you're talking about a kindergartner through 6th grade come into the club. First thing we try to do with them is get them something in the stomach. So we do a snack program
for 100+ kids.
100+ kids.
You are kidding.
We do a snack program because we want. And we know it is really just a snack, but we know sometimes that might be the last meal that child might be getting. But we try to give them a snack. Then we'll take them into the gym area to try to give them some downtime and to run around and play. And then we try to refocus them again into some of those health and life skills, the arts, those type programs. Homework help is a big one at most of our clubs. We understand that with the technology in place and some of the staff we have in place, that one-on-one homework assistance is always a big one. So we do hire a lot of college students, and we're assuming that those young people can help other younger persons with homework and stuff like that.
Decar, you mentioned that many or even some of that 100 children plus may be seeing their last meal when they get the snack. You mean the last meal of the day?
And it could be, you know, like I said, and that's a tough one because we don't know, because like I said, I think we serve a diverse group of kids. Meaning from the economic standpoint. I mean, we've got some studies. We do a lot. Our national has pushed us to be strong in numbers. When we say that we serve a family that's from the income level of
Right.
$15,000 to $25,000 a year. I mean, on our membership app, we try to kind of, is this stuff happening? So we go back and see how many kids we're serving in a certain economic group. So,
Right.
so we try to kind of make sure our numbers are good.
You make sure you really know what you're talking about when dealing with the families.
Well,
Absolutely.
and especially when you're dealing with donors. I mean,
Sure.
when you tell somebody you're serving 100 kids, accountability need to be there. I mean, I think that's one of the good things we like about United Way. United Way have always been one of those agencies that's kind of wanted to make sure that you're accountable for what you do, and I think that's one good thing of having about United Way. Yes.
You said the summertime, the programs today, if you weren't here or hadn't driven down early this morning to be on the show, you'd be rolling into the office, even as the director of operations, you're rolling in at 7:38, 9 o'clock, you're there, and kids are already there, and they are, they're waiting to get in.
You know, the time frame, you only can work for 8 and 10 hours a day. 4 days we're working 10-hour days. It's one of those situations where some parents have to get to work get to be to work at 7:30. So if I got to be to work at 7:30, I'm gonna have to leave little Johnny out at the building, and there's usually an adult there. Some of the parents will just sit and wait for their kids.
Sure.
I drove up this morning. I mean, it was like, I think it was probably 25 to 30 kids waiting to go in.
Son of a gun already. Wow. Wow. Well, you know, so much has to happen to put on great organization. I know you all have a couple of big annual fundraisers that we think about.
Yes. Our steak and we just call it steak and burger dinner, which was when I first started with Boys and Girls. It was pretty cool to see donors and young people eating a steak. Of course, the steak went to the young person, and the burger went to the donor.
Yeah,
that was kind of funny. You know, the first couple of years I did, I was like, all right, I know you don't really care for that steak. Let's switch. And of course, the kids like, Mr. Brown, that steak didn't taste too good. You want my burger? So that was funny. And then we had a big, I think, a strong move to try to, I don't want to say upgrade it, but it improved our dinner. And we moved it to our dinner, Champions for Youth dinner.
Champions for Youth.
Champions for Youth dinner.
Which is coming up soon.
It's coming up soon.
What did you say, the last week?
The last week in August. And we're kind of excited about it because I think this year we're hopefully trying to secure a well-known
national recording artist. Wow.
And you know, and has some background with Boys and Girls Club and be able to share his story about how Boys and Girls Club impact their life, and we're working on I think another great champion for youth. A recipient for the champion for youth thing. I mean, in the past, I know we had.
I saw some of the folks: Jim Clyburn, Congressman Clyburn, Frank Avent, Dr. Fred Carter,
Dr. Carter,
Senator Hugh Leatherman.
Yes, I mean, and all those guys are strong supporters of not just Boys and Girls Club, because truly. Those folks are just strong supporters of young people.
Right. I know Frank Avent's been a huge supporter.
Great supporter.
Over the years, and I saw the Pepsi Carolina Classic and the history therein. Clearly his involvement with Pepsi Cola there in the PD for many, many years. I know he's since spending a lot more time up in Chesterfield County. But
yes, the Classic is another, like I said, one of the two fundraisers we do. I mean, and it's a yearly, Christmas, it's after Christmas really, a basketball tournament, and I think our tournament has grown in popularity over the years. It's kind of great to see the number of people that's been coming out to see some competitive basketball. Yes.
Who are some of the folks that play in the Classic? Is that teams from the PD area?
We try to get teams
folks from all over.
I know we've had West Florence, we've had South Florence, we've had
your alma mater.
Go Bruins. We've had Chester. We've had King Street. We've had Florence Christian has always been a strong supporter. Tennisville, Pamplico. Like I said, all the teams in the area. I mean, and we try not to compete with other tournaments. But I think our tournament offers a local swing to it in reference to you get to see your young people play next to home. Yes.
Critical. That is critical, particularly around the end. That's the last week in December.
Usually the last week in December.
So right around the Christmas time, folks are getting ready to get out there and start playing. And then the last week in August. So two big events, each happened in the last week of a month.
Yes, I mean, and you speak of like teams like Hemingway. I know in the past couple of years, I've seen Hemingway lose one game, and they'll lose that game at the tournament, and it seems like they cut it on, and they'll run out the rest of the year. You know, so I think a tournament like that's a good tune-up for conference play.
You know, some folks trying to figure out how can we really connect with youth? How can we make a difference in them? They seem oftentimes so disconnected. They feel like they really can't connect. You know, later this week, we've got Bunny Beeson with Wildlife Action, who'll be in with us this Thursday as a guest on the show. And when you talk to him, and I can't wait to see him on Thursday, because he does that great connecting. He finds a way, no matter what, no matter anyone's background. He finds a way to connect with them. At those camps there, they have the wildlife action camps.
We partnered with Bunny several times.
Is that right? That's tremendous. And, you know, that idea of connecting. How do you connect? How do you said you have a couple of children of your own, you and Doris?
Yes, we have two, Tiffany and Decar, of course. And I guess for me, it's one of those things, you can't afford not to connect with young people. I mean, what you do, you got to listen to them. I mean, I know Tiffany probably think my daddy don't really listen. I told her my vision going bad, but I hear extremely well. You got to listen and see what young people is talking about, and say something that can affect them. I tell folk all the time, especially with young people today, if you see a young person doing something wrong, as an adult, the worst thing can happen is that you don't address that issue. And I don't mean, everybody's different how you address it. But I think when you see somebody doing something wrong, you need to say something about them to let them know, I hear you, I see you, and I care about you. And, you know, you're hearing and seeing it and saying something to them. It's all it's saying, okay, I care that you said that, or even good or bad.
Right.
I want you to know I heard it, and you need to know that I hear you. So, you know, they know people listening to them and hearing them. So I think that's how you really connect. So you see something going on, we need to address it. Whatever it is, we need to address it. Because the more we put it under the rug and let it go by, it's infested, and we need to keep going. So.
And you all do that. Both the part-timers, the full-timers, the volunteers of the Boys and Girls Clubs of the PD area are addressing it head on.
You have to. We were up in Atlanta. The leadership of our organization was up in Atlanta this past week, first part of June, on a leadership training, and our national is getting ready to release a new program. It's not a program, it's a philosophy. It's called Impact 2012. Boys and girls from across the country in the last 5 years, we wanted to grow to be the largest organizations in the country. Now we're saying we need to make sure that we're impacting young people's lives. You talk about addressing issues. One of the issues that they brought up in that training, it was kind of alarming, was the dropout rate. Not the dropout rate, the graduation rate in our state. And then you have folk from Louisiana, Alabama, the region. I mean, North Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi. And to see the numbers that we're not graduating kids at, it's alarming. And as a youth organization, our our national president said we need to be in the forefront of that kind of stuff. Understanding that we can't do it by ourselves. We want to assist schools, districts, any way we can to help improve those rates. And as an organization, one of the things we will try to do is to partner up, and I think we have great relationships with the districts that we work with. Our question is, what can we do to help improve kids' grades and the graduation rate? Because we understand the impact. If we don't, somebody else is going to be dealing with it, and it's going to, it's not cost effective for us to try to let somebody else deal with it. So, you know, so 2012 is one of those moves that we're going to try to be in the front line of, working with school districts, seeing what we can do to make a difference. Because those numbers really was alarming. Now you hear them all the time, but when you put yourself up against 6 or 7 other states, I mean, we had people from all across the region. It was a little alarming. I mean,
and to see that South Carolina is at the bottom.
We got some work to do. We got some work to do. I mean, I think that's the big issue. It was a great 3-day conference. I mean, we did a lot of work, but I think for me that was the most alarming issue that came out of it. That there's some work to do in South Carolina, and as a recipient of a South Carolina diploma, a public school person, we got some work to do. We got to change some things, so we making sure that we're graduating, and not just graduating.
Sure.
We're putting productive young people out of society.
Yes, whether you're active in the Boys and Girls Clubs or not, as a father, as a recipient, as you said yourself, you got to make sure that other kids are.
We got to make sure. And I think it's important that we do something about that.
You know, a lot of folks, I'm sure, want to be involved with the Champion for Youth dinner coming up. Are there tickets that are sold for that, or they just need to call your office and get more information for that event?
I would call the office and get more information, because I do believe we do them by the tickets. And I hate to give out the wrong number, but I think, you know, but once we get the speaker and stuff down, we'll be able to get more information. But yes, we're working
as soon as y'all lock up that artist, you've got a recipient as well, the Champion for Youth, and that'll be announced very soon.
I think, and I think the community would be pleased on who we announce, because I think, you can see by the past recipients that we try to select folk that really go out, that are there for young people. I mean, they're champions they could really be called champions for the community. Because anytime you're a champion for a young person, you champion the community, because you understand the importance of the future.
That's tremendous. Decar, I'm sorry we've run out of time. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Decar Brown, the Director of Operations for the Boys and Girls Clubs of the PD area. Coming up next. if you have a child or you know a child ages 6 to 18 that you think can benefit from growth in one of these 5 core areas of the Boys and Girls Clubs of the PD area, think of these 5 core areas: health and life skills, arts, sports and fitness, character and leadership, education and career development. If you know somebody ages 6 to 18 that could really get something out of that, then think of the Boys and Girls Clubs of the PD area. Pick up the phone, 843-662-1142, 843-662-1142. They'll also get you some good information about the upcoming Champion for Youth Dinner, about the big Pepsi Carolina Classic coming up at the last week of December. You need to learn more about the Boys and Girls Clubs. They're making a difference every day. BGCPDA.org, BGCPDA.org. Decar Brown, making a difference every day. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.